Do you worry about discomfort in your wrist as working in primary care? It's something that a lot of people haven't really thought about, but it's a growing problem, particularly since we spend so much time in front of a computer and particularly using keyboards and mice to input data into the patient records, that actually carpal tunnel is a growing concern for many, and it's a problem that, to be honest, can be fixed with simple ergonomics. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking through some simple processes you need to think about when using a mouse in general practice in the NHS. And in particular, I'm going to be reviewing something called the Carpio wrist rest by DeltaHub. If you find this video useful, make sure you click the like button, subscribe, and let's take enhance your primary care and learning. Shall we begin? If this is the first time we're meeting, I'm Dr. Gandalf for VGP Learning, where I look at supporting you with technology-enhanced primary care and learning. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the health of your wrist. One of the challenges of working in general practice is we spend a lot of time in front of computers, whether that's laptops or desktops. We have to put information into the patient record, that's via computer, and for the majority of people that's going to be using a keyboard and a mouse. And increasingly in the NHS, this is a growing thing. In secondary care, more and more clinics and hospitals are going to be using information to put in through a digital means. So looking after your body health is going to be really important, and things like ergonomics and adaptations to help you use these kind of pieces of equipment more effectively is really, really important. I cannot underestimate how important this is for the long-term benefits of your career. I know working as a GP, increasingly I'm seeing more and more people develop problems with carpal tunnel syndrome, and a lot of this is down to the fact that they're spending a lot of time on computers in their daytime. So how can we improve this for you? So let's start with a couple of basics. Ideally, what you want when you're using a device is for your wrist to be in a neutral position. So that effectively means that your wrist is like this and not like this. Because by doing that, you apply extra pressure on particularly the carpal region, and as a result of that, that can lead to development of carpal tunnel syndrome, as well as various other kind of wrist problems like tenosynovitis and other health issues. So it's important that you're looking after the position of your wrist. Now, I'm right-handed, as you're going to find out throughout this video, and it will be slightly different for left-handed people, but the principles are the same. You need to have supportive elements. Having the height of the device that you're using set properly is really important, because that's as much an element of ergonomics, and I'll put some links down below for you to have a look at to figure those parts out for yourself, because to be honest, I'm not the best person to teach you about that side of things. When using a mouse, many people will have mouse pads to help them basically keep their wrist in a good position, and that can be something like this, for example. This is one of the first ones I had. It's really old and I do not use this right now, but as you can see, it's a bog standard mouse pad with a little bit of wrist support at the bottom. These come in a variety of different types. You can have silicone, you can have gel, you can just have simple fabric and things. Generally speaking, gel padded ones are thought to be more effective, and particularly if they use neoprene as a material, that's generally thought to be more supportive and a lot better for your wrist health. Ideally, you want it raised by about an inch or so. It is very much based on your own comfort as well, but that's ideally the most basic form. And you can get these for a few pounds, to be honest, £3-4, up to 20 odd pounds, depending on the type of materials you have. One concern I have about these is the fact that they're made out of fabric. That means cleaning them is a lot more challenging, and that's one of the reasons why I no longer use this particular one, aside from the fact that, as you can see, it's a little bit flat. So this one's gone. Other options are specific little pieces of kit that can be really useful. So, for example, I've got one like this, which is my IMAK beanbag. And this, to be honest, I use as a bit of a stress relief as well, because it's nice to just, But this is full of little beads that basically allow me to adapt the position of this. So folding it over and stuff, I've got a good height, and I can maneuver this into whatever position I want. And it's fairly easy to use. It's mobile as well, so often I use my standing desk, and the position I have my mouse in is different, and picking this up and moving it is a lot more easier and a lot more simple. Downside to this, washing it, bit of an issue. It takes ages to dry, and that has been a problem for a while. I still do it on a regular basis for infection control, and particularly with COVID happening, obviously that's definitely more of a concern. Alternatives to this, again, are the gel-based versions that you can get. And part of the challenge I've got with those as well is the fact that because we have to wash our hands on a regular basis, when you obviously dry them, they may still have that element of damp tackiness that you get, or particularly if you used alcohol gels as well whilst you're waiting for that to dry. As a result of that, that can stick to gel-covered wrist rests and things. And that can be a bit annoying, to be honest, after a while. So I was keen to find a different kind of wrist support that would mean that I've got good support as well as easy to use. And from an infection control perspective, particularly COVID and all that kind of things, something that I can use really easily and effectively. So I was going around the internet and I managed to find something called Carpio, created by DeltaHub. And this was advocated actually by somebody I watch on a regular basis called Random Frank P. He's a tech reviewer, pretty good at what he does, to be honest, and knows loads about tech. And effectively, it's a really simple little device. Shall we have a look? So this is a Carpio. As you can see, it's a really small device. It's made out of two different types of material. So it's got plastic base, and then the top part is made out of molded sebs. So it's a form of polymer plastic similar to TPU that's found in most mobile phone cases and that kind of stuff. It's light, really light in comparison to, for example, this or even this. It weighs a lot less. It has 3 little feet on the bottom. Just presuming so you can see those, hopefully. Just 1, 2, and 3. And these allow for it to slide really effectively. It's basically like a little skateboard for your mouse. And it works. As you can see, it is molded to different sizes on each side. And unfortunately, the downside to this is it's designed only for right-handers. Unfortunately, if you're left-hander, can't really use this. It doesn't work so well. And effectively, you place your wrist on top, and it acts as a suitable wrist raise, as you can see there, to keep your wrist in a neutral position. And the company that's created this has specifically said that this is designed for use by clinicians. And I can understand why. It's light. It's easy to clean. I've been cleaning this with alcohol solution on a daily basis without any real problems and multiple times a day. It dries really quickly, so that's not a concern in terms of it being still wet. And if my hands are slightly damp after washing as well, it doesn't really have the issues of tackiness that you get from having wet hands and things. And it just is easy to move, and it works really well. Shall we have a little look? So for example, if I was to place it here, and I've got a mouse here, wrist on there, and as you can see, it just slides, no real problems. It uses the weight of your wrist to move along with it, and it just stays there really effectively. I actually quite like the fact that it's a little bit hard as well. The pressure I apply means that actually it's kept my wrist in a much more comfortable position when I have been using it. It does have its downsides though, and one in particular that I found with using this at work is because of the type of mouse that I use. So this one that you see here is actually one of my travel mice that I keep in my bag. The one I typically use at work is this kind of mouse. It's an ergonomic one because I spend a lot of time here at my desk station, and therefore having one that keeps, again, my wrist in a neutral position, really important. And unfortunately, because of the change in wrist position that I have with this one, it means that using the Carpio is actually a little bit uncomfortable for me when I use it like this. And when I contacted the company to confirm this, they did actually confirm that it shouldn't be used with an ergonomic mouse. It should be used with a plain old mouse. So I was a little bit disappointed. But then I found another reason for using this, and the main reason why I actually really like this. A lot of my editing work that I do for you as EGP learners and all that kind of stuff, I do on my laptop. So I use a Surface Pro, and many people obviously use different types of laptops. And using this with my laptop has been game changing. So the trackpad on my Surface Pro, actually I can still use this really effectively as a as a wrist rest to use my equipment. And because it's so small, so light, it fits in my laptop case really easily, and it's absolutely portable. So I really like it for that reason. So I'll be clear, I have been provided this for free by the company. I haven't paid for it. They haven't paid me for this video or anything like that. So I'm giving you my honest opinion on how it is. And I do like it. It is a shame it doesn't work for people who are left-handed. And it's an absolute shame it's not designed to be used with ergonomic mice, which I think is the tendency many of us are now moving towards, particularly the length of time that we use mice for. But it does seem to work quite well. Since using it with my laptop, I've had less wrist pain when I've been using my laptop compared to before, because it was a problem, and not having a portable wrist rest solution that was easy for me to carry was a bit of an issue. So I do like the fact that it works quite well. How much does it cost? It's not a cheap piece of equipment. This costs £30 roughly, give or take the conversion rate, because it is based in euros. And that is definitely at the higher end of the market. But I guess what you are paying for is a high quality piece of equipment that is easy to clean. So from a clinical perspective, I must admit this ekes out a lot of the other types of wrist rests considerably on that basis. Would I recommend this for everybody in GP? Well, as I said, if you are using a modified ergonomic mouse, no, absolutely not, because this will not give you any real benefit. If that's the case, go for a soft eye gel kind of wrist rest and stuff to give you that better positioning and things. If, however, you're using a normal mouse and you wanted something that's easy to move around and easy to clean, I've yet to find anything else that works as well as this. That's over several years of trying to find something. So I must admit, from that perspective, it is really a good idea to have. And important to remember, we're talking about your wrist health. How important is that to you? I guess that's a question you're going to have to answer for yourself. As always, leave your comments down below. Definitely make sure you subscribe. Love to see all the comments that you guys give me. And as always, EGP Learning is here to help save you and your patients time by taking hands in your primary care and learning. Catch you in the next episode.